the censor allows. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? While we're apart, will you stay in my heart? Promise you'll always be true. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? And when we are parted, lost, broken hearted, some wounds take forever to heal. No matter how painful, never deny what you feel. When I am caught in the heat of the battle, Mother, I'll call out your name. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? Will you stay faithful? Do you promise to wait? I'll be back before Christmas. I won't be late. Please remember me. Will you remember me? Don't think of me hurting. Don't think of me dying. I won't have you live in regret. If the memory hurts, it's better than that you forget. In the dark of the night, when all hope is abandoned, in the peace of the morning to come, will you remember me? Will you remember me? Our gift is your freedom that we gave our lives for, so please make the most of your days. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? You say you'll remember every November. I believe you'll be grieving with tears. But will you remember cold hard December? Fear I'm forgotten in 100 years. We traded tomorrow for a fragment of honor, and honor's not easily won. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? So think of me kindly, think of me often, but don't spend your life looking back, yet always remember me. Will you remember me? Remember the blessing of the time we have shared through the bleak nights and dark days ahead. We gave our tomorrow for a grave full of sorrow, so live and forgive and remember the dead. I was a soldier who died in the trenches. I was a sailor who drowned in the waves. I was a woman who worked in the factories. I was a child, a refugee who starved. I was a patriot, but I am no longer. I was a civilian who died in an air raid. I was left wounded and shunned by society. I was called a deserter and shot at dawn. I was too young to fight, so I lied about my age. I was one of the millions who thought this war would be the last. I was told war was a glorious adventure. Now I know they lied. I was gassed on the front. I died when the wind changed direction. I was left for dead in the wire of no man's land. We gave our lives to someone else's values, someone else's fight. I got typhoid in the trenches and was lucky to get home alive. I went to France when I was just 19. I'm lying there still. I am the unknown soldier, nameless for all time. I am resting in the corner of a foreign field that is forever England. Say you'll remember every November. I believe you'll be grieving with tears. cold hard December, I fear I'm forgotten in 100 years. Will you remember me? Will you remember me? Will you remember me?